Alright, we have a green light. Hello all, we have not been online in a while. Actually been working. Scary that. Today will be another short-ish stream, but we do have things to show you. And actually, let me bring up the game to prove that fact, obviously. And yes, I have things a little bit more set up where I can actually use my phone to switch the streams. I'm sure everybody cares about that, but there you go. So, the really big thing about today is Bloom. Now, Bloom, whether you love it or hate it, most people like it. I know it was overdone in the late 90s, early 2000s when people were discovering it. But there are many different types. As they say, there are many different types, but this one is mine. In actuality, this one isn't mine. This is actually Bloom from... let me show you what this looks like. Do the flight version things. So what's interesting about this is, look, we actually have a sun. The sun actually looks like the sun. Scary that. And look, we have stuff over here. Turn on the, of course, do a demo where the weapons aren't active. That always helps. So let me go over here and, as a matter of fact, I'm gonna go do the other tutorial, but to give you a better idea of this. But if you look at the reticles and stuff like that, it's a very different look. Now, we had Bloom before, but it was very limited. Evidently, there were a lot of Bloom tutorials, and as you may or may not know, this is our own hand-rolled engine. And so now we had Emissives for a long time, but now you've seen the PBR versions of the buildings, but look at them now. Look at this. Cut the engines here. So that means the Emissives now actually look like they're glowing. That's what Bloom's supposed to be like. It's actually supposed to make things look glowy. Scary that. You know. There's just some beams on, so you can actually see some of that. But this is what I meant by emissives in the game. I know I was talking about that before when we were doing PBR stuff. But, I mean, now it looks like there's actually a light bulb there. You know. Here's a better example of this. When I was saying that... Now, these aren't completely updated, but they want to give you an idea. So, one of the things about changing corporation colors is changing the emissive colors. So, see now it now glows yellow versus glowing white. That's black, but now it's glowing green. You know. I'm not saying there doesn't need to be other updates, don't get me wrong. And it's random now, it's cyan. But that's the point. So now you have your own corporation glow color. So if I, had a ship that had the emissives on it, for example, it would now glow that color. There's a dark blue that's glowing as. And basically some of the textures need to be adjusted so that the glow in buildings and ships are more pure to whatever the colors they happen to be. Now I want to show you what it looks like in the nav screen, because it really does make a difference there too. So let's see if I can do a new game, and we'll do yeah, we'll do this. Let's see if this works. Probably won't. It did work. There we go. So this is actually an example of tutorial 2. We've been working very diligently on the tutorials, and that's been kind of the problem, is that, again, I can't fire. Let me pick a game I can actually fire on, shall we? Okay, I keep picking scenarios that I can't fire on. That's very helpful. Just load the game and be done with it. But that's mostly what we've been working on. We realized the game is complicated, and without the tutorials, people are not going to enjoy themselves. So we've been working very diligently from what we observe and what the feedback we've gotten. Actually, I want to demonstrate some of that today. Is show what we've done to make things a lot more obvious than what they have been. So as an example of that, so I'm going to go new game, and we're going to do the city building tutorial. Just for ha-has. Now this is still very much in process. See, now we have beams. And if you notice, the beams look a lot different than they used to. Alright. So, what I'm going to do is we're going to go through the tutorial a little bit. Now, I'm not going to ruin the storyline, so I'll skip through this real quick. But, look at that. See, before we would say, hey, click the glowing ball on the right, and you would not believe how many people missed that. I don't think you're going to be able to miss this now. I know I have 2 other compatriots online. What do you guys think? I don't think you've actually seen this.
That is really cool, actually, yeah.
I mean, are you going to miss that this time? I mean, at a certain point, if you miss that, what more can we really do? So, Ogre, what's your opinion of it? Since hopefully you're seeing it.
Definitely looks good.
So now I actually click on it. And notice you did this. You avoid overwhelming you, and so Ares is still talking to you. So we're going to space continue. But now it wants us to go to the asset screen. But again, it'll show you exactly what you're supposed to hit. Now this is what this was truly made for. In the asset screen, because it's a very busy screen, it actually will show you, hey, big glowy. That's what it meant. So I'm going to click on the big glowy. And look, we have a different effect. This means, hey, pay attention to this bar. And we pay attention to this bar. And we pay attention to this. So we click on here, we follow instructions, we click on War Master, and now we're the War Master. Now see, we even have objectives that are legible, so if I scroll the screen, you can still see what it's saying. And hey, I'm supposed to click over here. And I know that seems kind of ridiculous. But what we've observed so often is that we made subtle hints about where different controls are and such, and people weren't seeing it, and then they were getting upset and rage quitting and things of that nature. So now this is really the step forward of trying to go, look, it's not difficult, it's just, this is what we mean by, hey, click over here, click over there. So now we're supposed to go to the Nav Screen. Well, guess where we're supposed to go. Boink. Now the reason why we really wanted to show this part of it is how the Nav Screen now looks. So I'll skip through all this. So this is just going through the tutorial. I'm not going to go too far with it. And, okay. So now this is talking about scrolling in, scrolling out, that kind of thing. Whee! Okay. So now we have a builder bot. Now, it says, click on the glowing button or click B. Now, here's our glowing button down here. Let's try and make yourself noticed. Click it. We now have the builder bot. Now if I double click, we can center on the builder bot. Which is kind of what we want to do. Now, if we look at the health of the bars of the builder bot, I really like how it's glowing at this point, where it's not just kind of there. You move your cursor over and it shows what's there. Now I'm not saying that there's not some polishing that still needs to be done, but it gives you an idea of, it's really going to step-by-step guide you through how all this works. So now we want to click on the build button. Well, we know what we need to press. We click on this guy. Okay, it says click on the reactors. Click on the electric reactor. And now we can actually place something. So we're going to place it right about here. So there he goes. And you've seen this 100 times before. But now we actually have a tutorial. This tutorial covers the asset screen. It covers researching. It covers building ships, things of that nature. The flight tutorial has been getting a revamp to explain things that people seem to have missed. So that's really been the big push. Is the bloom effects drastically change the game up to a whole new level, and the tutorials to really get home how to play the game. I mean, for the most part, if you play an RTS game, you know how to play this, but there's always those nuances. So we can keep on, so now we're doing a research lab. So like I said, so now it wants us to build a research lab. Research. And again, if you look at, see, now we have our nice little glow, and we have our nice little, these circles just looks that much better. I mean, it was working before, don't get me wrong, but they were very harsh looking. Now they sort of like, oh, they're doing something, And so I really, really like how everything kind of turned out. And yes, like, we're still tweaking in the different blooms and how much what should be bloomed is not, and what is over bloomed in the opposite way. But that's kind of the whole point. We really are trying to take. There's only really two things left that I personally feel that probably could be added to the game system: is a particle system and updating the terrain. But other than that, I mean, look at this. I mean, things like look like something now. I will be the first one to admit, there's that guy, that I really like how the building menu looks now. So I click on the building menu with the PBR and the bloom from the emissives and such. The buildings just look so much different and so much better. I know one of the complaints is, we're not running 100,000 or 1,000,000 polygons per building and such like that, or the ships. And while I can appreciate that, there are plenty of games with lower poly count than we do that don't look as good as what this looks like at this point. So I'm not completely sold that throwing more polygons at something is simply going to make it better. And again, we still have the whole damage system that we're still doing, but I mean, this is what it looks like now. I mean, if you go to some of the older videos that are on our YouTube channel, you can see what this used to look like. It did look like this. And of course, there's always going to be improvements, but yeah, this is like a night and day difference as far as what all this looks like. I mean, it's just, to me, it's amazing. Anyway, so
it definitely looks really good.
Yeah, I mean, we used to get very hammered over the look of it, and now we just aren't. And maybe with the engine or the lack of the abilities of the engine, etc. But yeah, I mean, it's just so much different. I mean, the coppery looks like copper. The glows look the way they're supposed to. Yeah. No, I'm very proud about how all this turned out, honestly. So, that is the main update. And as you can see, we have our... So if I target something, for example, it will actually bloom glow up on the radar. I kind of want to make it a little bit more obvious. So, interestingly enough, if you actually care, you see how you have the sun off in the distance? I remember how small of a dot that used to be. It used to be the size about this dot up here that I'm kind of pointing to. All right. And honestly, it still is. Do you know why it's that ridiculously big? So I cranked it up to 15 times brightness. And so the blue went, okay, and just made it look like, hey, it's sun. It even has that like yellow sheen around it, if you know what I mean. And I think that's what has really made a difference with all this, is that it looks like something. I don't experiment with something, so I actually have not done this. I know this is kind of stupid. As you know, we're supposed to do the entire solar system. I actually haven't checked to see what the sun looks like now. Oh, wow. Honestly, seriously, live on the stream, I've never bothered to zoom all the way out to see what the change looked like on actually the main sun. and look at it now. Wow. Okay, I'm very proud of myself with that one. I did not... That... See, that's the actual texture. I have to update that so that blooms up there, because obviously it's not. But, I mean, but look at that. Wow. Okay, no, seriously, I have not actually bothered to do that before. And yeah, no, it's amazing what like a simple equation can do. Obviously, I need to update this, but yeah, no, that's wild. No, I'm very, very, very happy about that actually.
Yeah, it looks good. Looks good.
Really
Yeah,
nice. Yeah.
So, I'll go to the builder bot and zoom back in. Whee! Here we are. So that's really what we have to show. The problem is that most of the changes that we've been working on has been the tutorial. And while I could do an entire video on both tutorials, give us feedback. Do you want us to do videos on the tutorials? Will that kind of ruin it for you, or you want to actually see us go through it all? You know, talk to us on Discord. Talk to us on the comments here, either on Twitch or on YouTube. Well, in any case, that's it for today. We're hoping to do a very, very, very big push. We do actually have a new trailer out. It's up on the YouTube channel. It's also up on their Steam page. By all means, take a look, comment on it, and I will admit that it was done before we added the bloom in, but there we go. So it'll probably be updated at one point or another. And yeah, I hope to see you next time, and I hope to hear your feedback, because like I said, we're still working on this. This is going to be a thing. All right. Have a good day, all.